was that they demonstrated to the Russians that not 1 square kilometer of Russia is untouchable.
As Ukraine is really showing us, it's also important for us to be thinking about defense. Specifically, if I may bring up the Operation Spiderweb that took place recently in Ukraine. Now, for the listeners, just to remind you, Operation Spiderweb was the instance where shipping containers were converted into effective drone deployments that they were able to bring near our airfields to take out good sections of the Russian Air Force. Um, and I guess my question to you, in addition to building huge industries, as you mentioned, the ships and everything else, what does security look like to countries that now have to defend against cheap, relatively easy to produce scaled attacks? Which I think must be on the mind of our military leaders. What long-term implications, now that such technologies have moved beyond sci-fi and are now actively being field deployed, do we need to take into account?
I think that what the Ukrainians did with Spider's Web was foreshadowed in that book, Ghost Fleet, where you had, similar deployments of drones. And this was a book that was written, I think, like 10 years ago. So you're right that reality has caught up with and passed science fiction in terms of these capabilities. And what impressed me so much about what they did was that they demonstrated to the Russians that not 1 square kilometer of Russia is untouchable. I
Right.
mean, psychologically, for the Russians, they've always been able to depend on, the vastness of Russian territory. And even during World War II, as the German Wehrmacht was moving east, the Russians relocated most of their heavy industry behind the Ural Mountains to get it out of reach of the Germans. Now, you can't do that anymore. Everywhere is reachable.
But General, didn't they not also demonstrate that to us? I mean, they weren't threatening us directly, but I mean, I thought the lesson was incumbent upon North America has always been sheltered by its shores. North
Yeah.
America has always felt a relative measure of security as well. But I mean, I think what Ukraine was demonstrating to Russia was being demonstrated to the whole world.
Yeah, so you can be sure that everybody that's responsible for Homeland Security, as well as port managers and airbase, airfield operators, you know that this is something they have to deal with. Now, it's always been the case that you could never defend everything. There's not enough air defense capabilities on the planet to defend everything that is important. So your leaders are always going to have to prioritize what airports and seaports or what parts of seaports have to be protected at all costs and where can we take risk. So that's going to be a part of it. I think that probably the various things that are done to scan, for example, containers that are coming in. It's probably given the volume of containers that move in and out of our ports in North America every week, it's impossible to check them all. But maybe the numbers that are checked, that increases.
I think we're
But
at 1 or 2% being checked at the present time. It was a
yeah,
stat that was thrown out on the show.
that's what I'm saying. It's not that's not enough. If you want to have more confidence, or maybe this is not such a threat. And again, this is where our civilian leaders and military leaders have to do the risk analysis of, okay, what is the threat? What do we need to do to mitigate that risk and still be able to protect all of our interests, both at home as well as being able to project power? You're right that Canada and the United States, we've been blessed with our geography. We had friendly neighbors most of the time, and two gigantic oceans and the Arctic. And of course, Canada has so much responsibility for the Arctic. Now you have to be thinking about who are those threats. And most people, our average citizens that don't spend their life dealing with this, but are going about their lives, doing their business, their jobs, whatever, have to be convinced that these threats are real. And that's why you have to invest in the capabilities needed to protect freedom of navigation, respect for international law, airspace, our ability to move from North America across the Pacific or across the Atlantic. It's very expensive.